Hey everybody, excited you could join me today on the Cabral Concept. This is our Cabral House Call, first house call of the weekend, answering 5 of our community's questions today, and we'll be back answering 5 more tomorrow. I just opened up the amazing document my team put together. I think we're going to have some great questions. Haven't looked at them quite yet. Let's dive in now. First question is from Amira. Amira says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I've been doing a functional medicine detox quarterly, but sometimes my body reacts more strongly than usual. Is this normal, and how should I adjust?" I feel like I just answered this question. I literally feel like I just answered this question. But since I don't know if I have or not, I don't have a show to point you to. So let's answer your question, Amira. So essentially, usually you're going to feel phenomenal every single detox you do, meaning like it gets better and better. So if the first one you're like, I had some fatigue, I had a headache, but overall I felt pretty good, especially by day 5, 6, and 7. Great. And then you do your second one, it's a little bit easier, partly because you know it's coming, so there's no anxiety, there's no expectation, right? Even though everybody can really handle this. And your third one and fourth one, even better. Now, I will share with you, maybe like your 6th or 7th or some other one, you're like, oh, this one actually was a little bit more challenging. And that's because your body is not static. You could have been exposed to more over those last few weeks or months. Remember, it's every 3 months that you may have more to excrete, right? Or maybe you've gotten a little less sleep lately. Maybe you've been exercising a little bit harder. Maybe you're just coming off of a virus or a cold. So remember, the body's not static, and sometimes it will be a little bit more challenging, and that's okay. Our bodies are human. And so that's why, myself included, I will get a cold once or twice a year. Used to be like 4 to 6 times a year. And so when I look at it, I just say, well, yeah, I got a virus because I'm human. And that's not my body saying that I'm not healthy. It's my body saying I was exposed to something. It's developing my immune system and these antibodies to this new viral strain that it hasn't seen before. It's okay. And the same with the detox. So just stay with the plan every 12 weeks, doing the best that you can. And if you're unfamiliar with the detox, free detox course at stephencabral.com/courses. And to see the detox that we do each and every quarter, head on over to stephencabral.com/detox. Okay, Casey's up next. I experienced very painful menstrual cramps every other cycle and was wondering why this happens every other month and what are some ways I can reduce the pain. Okay, so my recommendation is this, is that anytime you're getting menstrual cramps or PMS-based symptoms or an irregular cycle, is to run something called the stress mood and metabolism test. Highest recommendation, if it's a little too expensive, totally understand, check out the Women's Wellness Test. It won't give you your thyroid numbers, it won't give you your hemoglobin A1C, it won't give you your vitamin D, but it will show your estrogen, progesterone, and your cortisol throughout the day, which is pretty great. So then what it allows us to do is if you have a 28-day cycle, we'll actually run that lab, you'll run that lab at home around days 19, 20, or 21, right around there would be great, about 7 days or so before, especially when you're having symptoms. Then we'll be able to ascertain if it is estrogen dominance or something else that might be leading to these menstrual-based cramps. 8 out of 10 times, that's most likely what it's going to be. And so what will we recommend? Again, I definitely recommend, I like data. I am definitely a labs person. Don't guess, test. That's literally been our motto now for 15, 16 years or so. Here's what I want to share with you though, is no matter what, you can start adding more cruciferous vegetables to your diet. How much? About 2 to 3 cups per day. So that is broccoli or cauliflower or cooked kale or bok choy or asparagus. Any of those are great. 2 to 3 cups. You can split it with lunch and dinner, all at one meal, whatever you decide. And it's going to contain DIM and I3C. Those are 2 amazing extracts. There's also a supplement that contains those called estrogen. Estrogen Balance is the name of that product. Sorry, temporary mind cramp there. And you would take that 1 to 2 capsules per day. And you can honestly take that in divided doses, like 1 at breakfast, 1 at dinner, totally fine to do, or 2 at one meal, totally fine, easy to do. Then what we'll always ask you, because with your lab, you get a consultation, a lab results call, is we'll say, is something changing as a variable? Because it would be odd that if this worked like clockwork, 1 cycle great or fine, next cycle not. One cycle great or fine, one cycle not. And I would be very interested because we see women all the time where you're like, yeah, one cycle's fine and then two aren't, and then one is fine and then three are not, and then two are fine. And then, so it doesn't have the same regularity. And I would want to have a deeper discussion as to why that is. Or are you on a different work schedule? Like I would want to get deeper. Is something changing with your sleeping? Do you travel? And I would want to understand that to a greater degree because obviously estrogen and progesterone, as well as cortisol, are going to fluctuate based on the stressors in your life as well. Okay. That can include exercise, training, etc. All right, Amira, hopefully that was helpful. Sorry, that was Casey. Casey, hopefully that was helpful. Joy is up next. Joy says, during my previous pregnancies, I struggled with frequent UTIs, urinary tract infections, and vaginal infections. We're planning to conceive again, and I'd love to know your thoughts on how I can stop this from happening again. Do you have any recommendations? Yeah, Joy, this is great that you asked now, especially before conceiving, because there's obviously so much that you can do, and it's so much more helpful to start earlier whenever you can. So we always want to look at the gut microbiome, and that's one of the most important things, and then vaginal microbiome. Or vaginal biome. So what I would say is this: if you can only run one lab test, no problem. Run the Candida metabolic and vitamins test. That's going to look at yeast and fungal-based overgrowth as well as bacterial overgrowth. Easy test, simple urine test. First morning sample, ship it to the lab, get your results, get a personalized plan. That's the best way to do it for sure. So that's my recommendation because we'll want to rebalance the gut flora ideally before you conceive, and this is going to help as well with those urinary tract infections. Now, we have a program called, it's very short, but you can just use it as needed, the Healthy Urinary Tract Protocol, okay? So this is going to include D-mannose, which is that cranberry extract, right? It's going to include 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar per day, or organic raw apple cider vinegar. It's going to include the citricidal drops, and it's going to include ascorbic acid. All right, very important that it's not buffered vitamin C, that it's ascorbic acid. Okay, then we're going to use those sometimes even just for 3 days to help remove some of the bacteria that may be in the urinary tract. All right, really important. The next thing that we want to do is we want to optimize estrogen and progesterone levels as much as we can. Make sure there is no estrogen dominance, as we spoke about before. You can run a women's wellness test, actually, to check that out if you'd like, or the full stress hormone metabolism test, which would give you your thyroid. Those would be my things to do. If you do have bacterial vaginosis, then check out my podcast on bacterial vaginosis because there's so many things that you can do there as well with vaginal suppositories. So you can just go to stephencabral.com/podcast and search bacterial vaginosis, BV, and you'll be able to find that. And the last thing is, sometimes this does happen with pregnancy, especially in your last trimester, because there's a little bit of urinary stasis. Urinary stasis just means a slowing. So basically the urine stays in the bladder longer, and it can lead to a little bit of bacterial-based buildup and a change in pH, and that can lead to some of these urinary tract infections. All right. So hopefully that was helpful, Joy, and let us know. All right. Ryan's up next. Hi, Doc. I have been a longtime listener, but this is my first time writing in. Ryan, great to have you. Appreciate you writing in. Anybody who wants to write in can always do so at stephencabral.com/askcabral. Easy. Write in, get your question answered live on the show within just a couple weeks, usually a few weeks. I recently had an endoscopy, and it showed a small hiatal hernia without obstruction and H. pylori. Do you have any suggestions on how to work on this naturally? Yes. So in an ideal world, we would look to see if there's more going on than H. pylori. We'd run the Candida metabolic and vitamins test to see if there's also yeast fungal overgrowth and if there's any Clostridium difficile. Okay. If there is, we're going to use mastic gum, 2 grams per day on an empty stomach for 8 weeks, along with the CBO protocol. All right. So that's what we're going to do. If it's just H. pylori, we're going to use 2 grams a day of mastic gum, but I have to give you my disclaimer now. I can't provide any medical advice, medical treatments, medical cures, and medical diagnosis for anyone on any podcast forever in eternity. Okay, so now that's what I would do. Just personally, I would take 2 grams of mastic gum on an empty stomach, just like my daughter who got 1 gram when she was, I think, 5 years old or so, when she got H. pylori unfortunately, from a restaurant that we ate out at. Again, it happens. It's very common. 25, 30% of people will get it. All right, so that's the H. pylori. Second part we're going to talk about is the hiatal hernia that you found. Really important that we look at fixing the structural integrity of the bottom of the esophagus. So we swallow food, and most people know this, but you've got an esophagus and you've got about a 12-inch pipe or so that's going down to the stomach. All right, the bottom of the stomach, there's a muscle there. It's supposed to stay closed, except of course to let the food down, right? All right, so when you have a hiatal hernia, it's basically like a little hernia that can sometimes push open that lower esophageal sphincter. It can cause acid reflux-based issues, burping, belching, poor digestion, etc. Okay, so here's what we want to do. First, we want to eliminate alcohol. We want to, I basically said eliminate. That's basically eliminate or at least limit. That was my shorthand there. But the same for carbonated beverages as well. So we want to go easy on digestion. So smaller meals, you might, instead of doing 3 meals a day, you might do 2. Or I should say you might do 3 smaller rather than 4 smaller rather than 3 larger. That might be easier in your digestive system. Go easy on hard to digest foods. So like heavy red meats, maybe a lot of raw vegetables, anything that just might take a lot more food processing. Try to cook the foods, chew them up really well. Don't overfill the stomach. That includes with liquids as well. And that's going to be really helpful to get started. All right, Ryan? All right, Kevin's up next. Kevin says, thank you again for taking all of our questions. Love the show and listen every day. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you. A friend of mine was recently diagnosed with Graves' disease. Are there any resources you recommend for beginning the healing process in supporting thyroid and immune health? What's the best place to start? Okay, so Graves' disease, we look at it as basically akin to Hashimoto's, yet the opposite result. So essentially an autoimmune-based issue much of the time, and where Hashimoto's is basically low thyroid, right? Low thyroid output, low T3. And with Graves, we're going to see actually higher thyroid function. So we're going to see a very low TSH, usually below 0.5, and we're going to see an imbalanced thyroid. And we'll often see inflammation, anxiety. We might see sometimes bulging of the eyes. We might see a lot of hair thinning, hair loss. But where we start, though, is not with the thyroid. We actually start with what would cause an autoimmune imbalance or this level of inflammation. So we're looking at heavy metals. We're looking at viruses. We're looking at total toxic load from the environment. We are looking at gut dysfunction. So in an ideal world, a client's going to run the Big 5 labs, StephenCabral.com/big and the number 5. And that's going to give us inflammation levels. It's going to give us vitamin levels, mineral levels, going to give us heavy metals, gut function, food sensitivities, omega-6 to omega-3. So it's and all your hormones. It's a really amazing lab. So that's, I should say, set of labs. So that's what we do for these difficult to discern cases. If you could only run 2 of those 5, you already know you have Graves. I would most likely run the vitamin tox test, the starter kit. And you can find that at StephenCabral.com/starter-kit. That's the minerals metals test and the Candida metabolic vitamins test. That will give you heavy metals, gut dysfunction, vitamins, minerals. Amazing 2 labs as well. So that's where we start. And then you would get a personalized plan on rebalancing the gut, removing the metals, whatever you needed in order to build back the health that you need, rebalance the body, remove the toxicities, replace the deficiencies. That's how we heal, right? That's what I talk about in my new book, Personomics, which picks up basically where the rain barrel effect left off. And so if you haven't read Personomics yet, highly recommend it. Obviously, you can check it out on Amazon or your favorite book-based place, or just check it out at personomics.io/book. You can even get the audiobook completely free with any purchase over there. So check it out. Again, all profits go to charity. Hopefully this was helpful. I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new Cabral House Call. Take care, everybody.